Maarten Van Heemskerck, born Maarten Jacobs van Veen. The 1st of June 1498 to 1 October 1574, also known as Maarten Jacobs Heemskerck van Veen, was a Dutch portrait and religious painter who spent most of his career in Haarlem. He was a pupil of Jan van Scorel and adopted his teacher's Italian-influenced style. He spent the years 1532 to 36 in Italy. He produced many designs for engravers and is especially known for his depictions of the wonders of the world. Heemskerck was born in the village of Heemskerck, North Holland, halfway between Alkmaar and Haarlem. He was the son of a farmer called Jacob Willems van Veen, later buried in the village churchyard. According to his biography by Karel van Mander, he began his artistic training with the painter Cornelius Willems in Haarlem, but was recalled to Heemskerck by his father to work on the family farm. However, having contrived an argument with his father, he left again, this time for Delft, where he studied under Jan Lucas before moving on to Haarlem, where he became a pupil of Jan van Scorel, learning to paint in his teacher's innovative Italian-influenced style. Heemskerck then went to lodge at the home of the wealthy curate of the Sint Bavokerk, Peter Jan Foppisch, whose name Van Mander writes as Pieterian Fopsen. They knew each other because Foppisch owned land in Heemskerck. The artist painted him in a now famous family portrait, considered the first of its kind in a long line of Dutch family paintings. His other works for Foppisch included to life-size figures symbolizing the sun and the moon on a bedstead, and a picture of Adam and Eve rather smaller, but it is said after living models. His next home was in the house of a goldsmith, Justus Cornelis, on the edge of Haarlem. Before setting off for Italy on a grand tour in 1532, Heemskerck painted a scene of St. Luke painting the Virgin for the altar of St. Luke in the Bavokerk. An inscription incorporated into a trompe-l'oeil oil label on the painting begins, "This picture is a remembrance from its painter, Maarten Heemskerck." He has here dedicated his labors to St. Luke as a proof of regard to his associates in his profession, of which that saint is patron. He traveled around the whole of northern and central Italy, stopping at Rome, where he had letters of introduction from Van Scorel to the influential Dutch Cardinal William of Enschede-Weert. It is evident of the facility with which he acquired the rapid execution of a scene painter that he was selected to collaborate with Antonio da Sangallo the Younger, Battista Franco, and Francesco de Rossi il Salviati on the redecoration of the Porta San Sebastiano at Rome as a triumphal arch the 5th of April 1536. In honor of Charles V Giorgio Vasari, who saw the battle pieces, which Heemskerck then produced, said they were well composed and boldly executed, while in Rome, where he made numerous drawings of classical sculpture and architecture, many of which survive into sketchbooks now in the Kupferstückbund Berlin. He was to use them as source material throughout the rest of his career. Among these are the Capitoline Brutus, Van Heemskerck being the first known artist to make a sketch of this now famous bust, a hypothesis put forward in 2021 and explained in 2024, stating that the drawings in the two Berlin scrapbooks were not executed by Maarten Van Heemskerck and the Anonymia and B, but with a few exceptions entirely by the sculptor Cornelis Florus II, and dated between 1535-36 and 1538. Was not taken up by archaeological and art historical research and was refuted by several contributions to the Berlin exhibition catalogue The Allure of Rome. Maarten Van Heemskerck draws the city, not only the provenance history of the Roman sketchbook, but above all stylistic and handwritten comparisons confirm Van Heemskerck's authorship. In addition, Van Heemskerck often reused Roman motifs from his drawings in later works, which would not have been possible if Cornelis Florus, who worked in Antwerp, had been the author. The results of the art technological examination of 2024 also contradict the hypothesis, as the ink of the drawings in the Roman sketchbook has the same composition as the undoubtedly autograph sheets of larger format, some of which are signed and dated. On his return to the Netherlands in 1536, he settled back at Haarlem, where he became president of the Haarlem Guild of St. Luke in 1540, married twice. His first wife and child died during childbirth, and secured a large and lucrative practice. The alteration in his style, brought about by his experience of Italy, was not universally admired. According to Van Mander, in the opinion of some of the best judges, he had not improved it, except in one particular, that his outline was more graceful than before. He painted large altarpieces for his friend, the Artmaecenas and later Catholic martyr of the Protestant Reformation, Cornelis Mies, also known as Mucius. Mies had returned from a period in France to the Netherlands in 1538 and became prior of the St. Agatha cloister in Delft, later became the Prinsenhof. This lucrative and high-profile work in Delft earned Heemskerck a commission for an altarpiece in the Nieuwe Kerk Delft for their Guild of St. Luke. In 1553 he became curate of the Sint Bavokerk, where he served for 22 years until the Protestant Reformation. In 1572 he left Haarlem for Amsterdam to avoid the siege of Haarlem which the Spaniards laid to the place. He was one of the first Netherlandish artists to make drawings specifically for reproduction by commercial printmakers. He employed a technique incorporating cross-hatching and stippling intended to aid the engraver.